Good evening, everybody. I'm just getting myself set up. Because today we're going to be talking about mind-body connection. And I just want to make sure though that I've got like the chat window where I can see it. So I've got that over there and I've got you over here and I've got my notes in the middle and Insta's up there and anyway, the busyness of it. So yeah, this week's challenge was to talk more about body and mind integration, why it's a good idea, what that can, bring you in your life. The thing is that with this mental and physical well-being, whoa, when all of this starts to become a thing for us, we're often told that it's too late, but it's really not. And what I'd like to be able to impart to you in this workshop and in all of my content so far this week is how you can access and trust your own body's wisdom or intuition or whatever word you want to use for it, for your own personal growth and transformation. Earlier in the week, I spoke about how just about everybody I meet seems to be living up in their heads. And they have so little connection with their body. So I wanted to remind people that, your body automatically digests food, even when your mind chooses foods that's not what your body needs. Your body protects you. It carries you, the undefinable thing that is you, around. It holds all of the pain and anguish and past trauma so that you can just get on with your life. Yeah. Your body provides you with those five senses, smell, sight, touch, hearing, taste, so that you can experience this world. Yeah. Really experience it. And, and yet people choose to just stay in their heads. What the beep is going on? Because the simple consequence of all this, right, just put simply, is pain and illness. Yeah. And I know this is true because it's happened to me. I spent years and years and years and years and years ignoring my body, being a people pleaser, putting everything else ahead of myself. And then I got so ill by around about 2010-ish that I struggled to work. And then by 2011, I was made redundant because I was spending so much time off work, sick, with this unexplainable pain, which was later diagnosed as fibromyalgia. But myself aside, I'm sort of coming to you from this place of experience because you know that I'm not a medically trained professional. Yeah, I am a professional. I'm a somatic coach professional. So the advice that I give people when it comes to their physical stuff is based on my experience. But I will always say to people to go to your doctor first, because they have access to things like x-rays and scans and blood tests and stuff like that can give you actual answers. Yeah. Because these people who spend so much time in their heads, they're over delivering, like I did, from that place of fear. They're over worrying about things that they can't change anyway. And some people, my mum included, tend to catastrophize and over catastrophize, constantly worrying and worrying and worrying over all of the stuff that could potentially go wrong. Yeah. But what I teach is how to step back from that. But you can't just switch all that off. It doesn't work. What you need to do is consciously release the stressors. Look at what is stressing your mind and your body and step away from it as best you can, or reduce contact from it as best you can, or bring coping mechanisms into your life so that you recover from that. It's not about avoiding those things. It's not about sweeping it all under the carpet and pretending it's not there. Yeah, that's not what it's about at all. But what I focus on is getting this connection back to your body. Yeah. Allowing yourself to just be in this moment. You'll often hear me say things like, I'm just a human being human. Yeah, because it's all about that being in this moment. Because, when you can be in that moment, just in those special moments, all of the anxiety, which is incidentally fear of the future, and depression, which is ruminating on the past, just fade. And in those brief moments where you are truly present, there's a clarity that comes about. And you can maintain that clarity by creating gratitude in the life that you're in this moment. So on the radio show yesterday, I continued to talk about this subject because there isn't a simple and direct causal relationship between ignoring your body's warning signs and developing chronic illness. Yeah, but there is evidence that suggests that constantly neglecting your body's signals or masking them, not taking care of your health, does contribute to the development of those chronic conditions or of worsening of illnesses that could have been treated and helped much better in the early stages. All of those C words, the cancer words. So what am I going to talk about today? Right. All that said, what I'm going to talk about today is that the mind-body connection is top of my list of effective tools. I have learned lots of tools from all of these certificates and stuff, loads of different ways, but the top one is this somatic connection, and that's why I'm a somatic coach. That's why I trained as a somatic coach, because this mind-body connection, when it is developed, can prevent your body having to forego treatment. Seriously, it can reduce stress on the immune system. It can help you come out of or crowd out the unhealthy habits because you're more aware. It can also help to avoid chronic inflammation, because instead of seeing inflammation in your hands or your feet or wherever and then masking it with anti-inflammatories, and then pushing through and pushing through and pushing through, you're actually dealing with something to help it when in the early stages, while you've got a chance to deal with it in the early stages before it becomes a chronic problem, and that's much more difficult to deal with. But before we get too far down that chronic ill health side of the workshop, three things. First, I just need to turn my fan on because I think there's a thunderstorm coming and it's getting really muggy here. Not so much hot, but just like not enough air to breathe. Okay, so I am not a medical professional, as I said earlier, and in the UK, where I live and work, we're lucky here to have our National Health Service. I acknowledge that it is overstressed and still recovering from the impact of pandemic, and I also appreciate and want to appreciate more the different ways that we access healthcare around the world. Several of my clients and quite a lot of my past clients are Americans, and I found out while researching that that America is the only developed country in the world without a system of universal healthcare. Isn't that shocking? That's shocking. So yeah, that being said, let's talk a little bit more. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is the sort of the did you know section. I mean, did you know that your body can help you with decision making? Yeah, there's a thing that I teach called the visceral yes and no, where I help you to listen to the signals and sensations that your body gives you that can be translated into yes and no. I'm not going to do the full story, but those of you who've watched my things, my lives before, and my lectures before, and my workshops before, will probably know about the bathroom tile story, when I let my body choose my bathroom tiles. by tuning in and allowing my body to see through my eyes, and literally go yes, no, yes, 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 no, to shortlist down from, I think it was 42 or 43,000 tiles on this particular website that my plumber sent me to, down to the very last two, which I couldn't decide between. So I sent him off to get samples. And then I literally put one hand on one hand on the other, closed my eyes, felt the tiles. And then I looked at the tiles. So I allowed the visual and the touch to go deep into my body for my body to choose which tile. Yeah, that's a short version of that story. But I mean, in a more realistic way, yeah, we all have gut instincts. And when I was working with women with eating disorders, I would often encourage them to listen to their body when choosing food. I mean, it sounds daft. Honestly, if you're not doing it, it sounds daft, but you stop and you listen to your body and you ask your body, you know, do you want spinach or cabbage with tea? Do you want pork or chicken? Yeah. Do you, and just talking to your body, because there's also that gut instinct that like police and stuff talk about. Yeah. When they're hounding down the bad guys, you know, they get gut instinct. But also, you know, your body can choose what kind of activity you want to do in a particular day, because you literally have the freedom to choose anything. Yeah. Again, one of those facts that I used to pull out when I was talking with women with eating disorders is that walking 1 mile burns exactly the same amount of energy as running 1 mile, because it's physics. Your mass over distance equals energy. The energy required to move the weight of your body from here to 1 mile away is the same whether you run it or walk it. Now, I totally appreciate that running gets you there quicker, but what you save in time just means you can run another mile, I guess. You know, so maybe you could run 2 miles in the time it takes you to walk 1 mile, but just when you're choosing your activities, just bear in mind that you know, playing basketball, volleyball, tennis, yeah, any of those kind of like ball games, yeah, 1 hour, same amount of energy burnt. So if you like playing tennis but you don't like playing volleyball, go do some tennis. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know which sport they like, try it out. Because in addition to all of these support mechanisms that your body can give you when you are tuned in, when you are connected, is that your body also holds all of the emotional stuff that you were not equipped to deal with as a child, or for that matter, what you were not equipped to deal with yesterday. Yeah. Say, for example, next week, you need to go to a funeral. You need to say goodbye to someone who was, you know, say a close family friend. You need to do that for a number of reasons. There's only one chance to go to someone's funeral. So I always say to people, you know, go, because it's part of the ritual. But you may find while you're there that emotions and feelings and recollections come up that you're just not ready to process. So if you were a client of mine, I would literally encourage you to either write them down, the things you can't deal with, and promise yourself to come back to them. But I'm also going to not only encourage you to come back to them, but I'm going to remind you to come back to those things. Because even though you feel like in the moment you can't deal with it, you can come back to it. And that almost took me down the whole inner child frozen part of parts work rabbit hole. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because I want to talk about how mind-body connection is a really effective tool to prevent those what was it, 5-6 things I mentioned earlier. Okay, I'm just going to get those 5 things in front of me so that I don't miss anything. Okay, delayed medical treatment. If you ignore symptoms that could indicate a medical problem, you are yourself, nobody else is responsible for it, you are yourself delaying diagnosis and treatment. Yeah, it's you're doing that. And if you're, busy looking after the family, or, you've got this on and you've got that on, you've got something else on, yeah, how many other things are going to come ahead of your annoying little symptom? Because you know what, there are some annoying little symptoms that are indicators of some really nasty stuff. Yeah. So rather than ignore those symptoms, remind yourself every now and again that many chronic illnesses, and cancer in particular, are easy to manage when they're detected early. Ignoring warning signs could simply allow a condition to progress to a more advanced stage where it becomes more difficult to treat, or in some cases impossible to treat. Yeah. So please don't ignore your body. Your body's trying to tell you something. The next one was stress on the immune system. Now, your immune system is a whole bunch of complex systems that interlace to work together to tackle stuff as it comes along. But chronic stress, I'm talking about the sort of ongoing stress that results from things like ignoring, and this is physical stress, by the way, right? We'll do mental stress in a minute. Physical stress, where you're ignoring fatigue, anxiety, overwhelm, and other stress-related symptoms, those physical symptoms. If you allow yourself to override your body, up in your head, and you say, I've got to push through, I've got to ignore all of this stuff, and I've to just go sweep it away. Yeah. This has been linked to a weakened immune system, which can then allow other things, those risk factors of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and other autoimmune disorders from becoming a real and present threat. Let's go on to the unhealthy lifestyle and habits thing, right? So if you ignore signals, and those signals can be those unhealthy habits, like every night you sit in front of the TV eating the same junk food, or just crisps, or drinking pop, or whatever it is. Yeah. Whatever that indication of an unhealthy habit that your body is doing on autopilot. And it's usually things like poor diet, lack of exercise, inadequate sleep, inadequate rest. All of these things can contribute to the development of those chronic diseases, like obesity, heart disease, diabetes, that kind of stuff. Yeah. These conditions, especially the obesity, heart disease, and diabetes, can often arise from that long-term pattern of neglecting your body. Yeah. I mean, I totally get, for all of the medical professionals out there who are currently screaming at the screen, yeah, I totally get that there is a genetic element in some of these things, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the neglect or ignoring of our bodies. Just gonna have a quick drink. So, inflammation is such a simple and straightforward, physically obvious indicator from your body. And ignoring inflammation, which can, manifest as like persistent pain, discomfort, yeah, or just swelling, yeah. The longer you ignore it, the more likely it is to become chronic. This chronic inflammation has been associated with a whole bunch of diseases, the ones I've mentioned before, the heart disease, cancer, autoimmune diseases. But, in particular, the autoimmune disorders that I'm talking about are things like rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, type 1 diabetes, even Crohn's disease and multiple sclerosis. Yeah? Because these disorders happen when the immune system is so fired up that it begins to attack healthy tissues in the body. So yeah, while you're when your immune system kicks off and starts, creating that inflammation, pay attention, because it can be a very early sign that there's something up with your immune system, and you need to address those things early. Let's talk about recurring symptoms. Yeah. Because some chronic conditions start with mild and intermittent symptoms that, to a lot of people, are easy to ignore. But over time, these symptoms can worsen, they can become more frequent, and eventually they lead to the chronic diagnosis. See above. All of that stuff that I just said. And the last one is, I mean, we've talked a lot about the physical impact, the physical problems, the chronic stuff that can turn up when you ignore it. But there is also a mental element here. Just a second, dog is woofing. Sorry about that. If he does it again, I shall pause the recording and find out what the beep he's barking at, but he's stopped now. So anyway, the mental health impact of ignoring your mental and emotional well-being, if you just ignore all the warning signs, whether they're physical or mental, you can find yourself with depression, with anxiety, and those can then turn into disorders linked with the physical. Yeah. So you can start off with just ignoring a couple of odd bits. I don't know if you can see him. He's making a circle on the sofa. Good boy. What a sweet child. Yes, so where was I? Oh yes, mental health impact. So the longer that you deal with depression or anxiety without doing something about it, the more likely it is to become physical. The main reason why this happens is because when you are depressed or anxious, or when you are focusing all of your attentions outside yourself, on making sure that everybody else is happy and everybody else is fine, then you kind of find yourself in this situation where you don't care about your body or its health. And this is what comes to me most often with people pleasers, is they're putting the health and happiness of others ahead of their own. And really, it is so important to note that not all chronic illnesses are directly caused by ignoring warning signs. This is just the subject of my workshop. I'm talking about what happens when that mind-body connection is completely ignored, for the purpose of this workshop. I totally appreciate and understand that genetics, environmental factors, and so many other things, like injuries, for instance, can trigger chronic diseases. There is a variant of fibromyalgia, for instance, that is triggered by the body's response to a virus. Wonder how many people can lip read what I just said to the dog. Buddy, no. Anyway, I think it's going to be quiet because I'm nearly at the end anyway. So I suppose if you sum everything up, what I'm saying is pay attention to your body's signals, however you choose to do it. If you want to do it in a really, conscious way with breath work and meditation and all that kind of stuff, great. If your version of paying attention to your body is when you hop out of the shower, covering yourself in moisturizer and just paying attention to every little part of you, examining your breasts or your testicles, depending on which you've come equipped with, all of that stuff is still a way to make the conscious effort to adopt a healthy relationship between your mind and your body, which is, in my humble opinion, essential for maintaining good health, good mental health and physical health. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not, perfectly slim and completely muscular, and but we're all doing our own variety of being human. And what my intention was for this workshop is to literally give you some clues and some pointers to reduce your risk of those chronic health conditions. Because if you are experiencing anything persistent or concerning, go to a professional, get a proper full-on evaluation. Because my coaching skills are great, but I can't look inside your body in the same way as an MRI scan does. He's such a bucky little boy. He's the bucky boy. So, yeah, I think that's about it for the workshop. We haven't got any questions in chat. That's cool. I'm just going to see whether there's anything on Facebook chat, because I have to look at that in a totally different place. No, doesn't look like there's any questions or anything there. Fabulous. Of course, the recording is going to be posted in the event, and will also go on my YouTube channel at some point. So where was I? I clicked all over the place just to check for comments and lost my place. There you are. So I just wanted to end with that, reiterating what I said at the beginning about why I am a somatic coach, and it's simply because I feel that my awareness is being carried around in this body, and it's the only one I've got. So I've trained and focused my training on somatic methods, which involve, getting your body involved in what may feel like, just mental problems. Yeah. But, I'm willing to bet that at least some of you watching this workshop are sitting there saying, well, my problems are different and difficult and unique. Yeah. None of this applies to me. Okay, so tell me about you. Tell me about what makes you different. Yeah. Because I'm always willing to learn, always. And it's my duty as a coach to keep learning. Talking of learning, there are currently options for people to join the 3P system. As you know, I keep that the total number of people on that really low in order that everybody gets top-notch support. So there's space on that at the moment. We've had a graduation last week. Yes, graduation last week. But if there's anything that you want to know about the 3P system, there are different ways to do it and lots of options. But I'm not going to go into huge amounts of detail now, because that's not what this workshop is about at all. But it's just to say that there is space on the program at the moment. So message me to tell me what. Well, you can message me and tell me about your difficult and different problems that you have that are unique to you, which is great. I want you to do that. But also, if you feel that you deserve or need a scholarship to get on to my 3Ps system, which is the program designed for people pleasers, to bring you peace, priorities, and purpose, to redefine your purpose, from one that's just here to be a taxi. Sorry, that was one of my pet peeves as a parent, was to just be assumed that I would pick a child up from anywhere and drive them to anywhere without even anyone saying, is that all right, you're free. But anyway, get back to the point. Message me and tell me why you want or need a scholarship. So I hope you've enjoyed this little workshop. Let's get my screens back in front of me again. Yes, there's still no questions anywhere. No, nothing on there. Nothing on there. Oh, hang on. There's a notification on Instagram. Is it a message? It's taken ages to load. Oh, lordy. No, it doesn't look like it's a message. It's a notification. Just someone liking something. Okay, right. That's nothing for us to be interrupted with. I'm going to leave it there. The recording will come soon. And if there's anything in particular that you want me to do a workshop about, whether it's a question you want me to answer or a subject that you want to hear my views on, or want me to explore, then just go ahead and message me or drop a note in the Facebook group. Okay. Bye for now. Bye-bye.